boys, it's really a beautiful Tuesday on the Money Manziel MMA YouTube channel, and being a Tuesday, it means we have everybody's favorite, the Money Manziel MMA criteria for the main card of UFC Noche. It's very exciting times. The card is dog shit. It's terrible. But listen, man, we got to make predictions regardless. That's how this works. So listen, and we're going to be talking about this criteria a lot today because there are a couple of guys that they're really fitting what we're talking about. And by that, I mean autism. Listen, man, in the main event, there's a lot of autism. In the co-main, there's some autism. It's everywhere. It's rampant. And it's taken over the UFC. So obviously, we are going to be picking the winner based on who has more of autism. Aura and TikTok editability, you know how it is. I'm just kind of going over this again so you have that understanding before we get into this. You need to be able to have a hard TikTok edit made about you winning. Why do you think Benoit Saint-Denis won last week? Why do you think I picked him on Tuesday? Because I knew the edits would be tougher for Benoit than Mauricio Ruffi. He doesn't have aura like that. He doesn't have the real editability. So that's why we picked Benoit, and that's why we're going to pick some random guys today. IQ. You have to not be a dumb individual. There are some people on this card who are dumb people, and that's not racist. That is just who is dumb and who isn't dumb. And that's going to be big here. So, plot armor being our last one, and there's a guy in the main event who has a lot of plot armor, and we're going to talk about it in a second. So let's just get started with it right away. Diego Lopes and Gene Silva in the main event, an awesome main event. Outside of this fight, there's obviously some complaints, but the main event itself is great. I'm super happy they put this together. It's a great fight. Stylistically, it's a lot of fun. It's going to be all striking. I do not believe we're going to see grappling here from either side. They're going to come in the middle and they're going to swing, and we're going to see what happens. Finishers. Diego Lopes is coming off the loss to Volk at 314, while Gene Silva is coming off the win against Bryce Mitchell. I will say, this is a legitimate jump in competition for Gene Silva. Bryce Mitchell is solid. Striking, but he's not an elite striker. He's an elite grappler, and Gene Silva did well there, but he posed zero threat on the feet to Silva. This is a guy that is the first one, in my opinion, outside of Drew Dober, who really poses a threat to him on the feet. And Dober, hung in there for a little longer. It was at 55. It was short notice. I get it. But listen, man, I'm going to go with Gene Silva here, and I'm going to tell you why. Regardless of me watching film or not, regardless of looking at records, oh, Diego did better here and Gene did better here, bro, Gene Silva has the most autism I've ever seen in the history of the UFC. Outside of Yuri Prohaska, no one has more autism than Gene Silva. Listen, people like to hate on Gene Silva in the fighting nerds. I don't really know why they hate Gene Silva. Like, he's fun as fuck. Like, he tried to kind of aura farm at the 314 press conference. It was a little annoying. I think if he knew English, it would have been better. But it's just like, bro, like, I like Gene Silva. Like, no one's going to make me dislike him. Stylistically, he's very fun to watch. Always brings it. Always entertaining. Always builds fights. He's going to manage to build this one during the week. He'll probably, like, tap in with Yair Rodriguez, and he'll try and learn, like, the language and shit. But dude, he has so much more autism, and I do actually believe he's gonna win. I do hope that it's just like a fun fucking banger, though. Like, I don't want Gene to slime Diego out immediately. I don't want Diego to somehow slime Gene out immediately. It'll be interesting to watch for sure. I mean, we're all going to be tuned in, so I mean, it doesn't really matter. Can I also say, by the way, this bedtime thumbnail that I've got on the left here is one of the best fucking thumbnails I've ever seen in my life. Hall of Fame autist. All right, bro. Yeah, pack it up. Pack it up, gang. It is what it is. But Gene Silva's winning this fight, and we're going to move on. Co-main event, Rob Font and David Martinez. Kind of a weird matchup. It was supposed to be Font versus Raul Rosas Jr., in which I would have picked Raul Rosas Jr. clearly. Rob Font cannot defend takedowns effectively. He can kind of, in rounds 2 and 3, he can chuck a couple off before getting taken down, but Rosas would have been too much grappling. In this matchup, and this is wrong, by the way, Rob Font is win-win-loss, for what it's worth. But I do believe that Rob Font fits the criteria better here than David Martinez. Again, we're not really looking at skill for skill. We're just looking at the criteria. That's what we base this on. Listen, ever since Rob Font has gone bald, he has had legitimate superpowers when it comes to getting very close decisions. His fight with Kyler Phillips was thin, a pretty thin fight that he got rounds 2 and 3 against. He was crafty, he was really just flicking the jab. How do you not like Rob Font, man? This kid just flicks the jab at range. He's too tough with that jab. Um, and then G Matsumoto, a lot of people thought he lost that fight, but they gave him the decision, so it is what it is. Great win for Rob Font the past two fights. He's kind of knocked down contenders. I will say that none of them are like punchers like David Martinez is, so it is much scarier for Rob Font, who I really question his durability at 38 now. I will also say that he is kind of on like a Celtics or Suns Shaq type of run where he's won two in a row. If he gets three in a row, you deadass might have to give him someone above him in the rankings, which is kind of scary, but that's a conversation for another day. I think Rob Font wins this fight probably by like a crafty split decision. Like he somehow mixes in like grappling or something. He flicks the jab at range. Martinez is much shorter than him. Probably flicks that jab at range for fucking 15 minutes. That's what Rob Font does nowadays. So yeah, shout out to Rob Font. I think he wins. Feature fight: Jared Gordon and Rafa Garcia. Jared Gordon's coming off that KO over Thiago Moises. I had that fight to go the distance, and Jared Gordon literally killed Thiago Moises. And Rafa Garcia's coming off a decision win against Vince Pichel. I forget which card that was on. That might have also been 314 or 313, but I have to check again. I'm not completely sure. Listen, man, I feel bad for Jared. Like, I feel like I have to pick Jared Gordon. I think he would win anyways, but I just feel bad for the guy, man. Like, robbed versus Nasrat Haqparast, robbed versus Paddy Pimblett. I think he had another split decision not go his way. Bobby Green headbutts him and knocks him out. Like, it's just been tough, man. It's just been a real tough run for this dude who doesn't deserve it. Like, I feel like he's very legit everywhere. Really good power, solid anti-grappling. He's good, man. I mean, he's 37, so it's like it's all measured, and you kind of are like, okay, well, he can beat some guys, but Rafa Garcia is dog shit, bro. Like the UFC has gotten to a point on these Mexico cards where they are literally just finding anybody they can and throwing them on the card. Rafa Garcia was low key getting beat up by Vince Pichel. I thought Garcia won. I had him to win by decision because all I do is gamble, and he did that. But I remember, like, at the end of the fight, I was kind of like, bro, like, he kind of was losing at the end there. So if you're losing to 50-year-old Vince Pichel, then I'm kind of the opinion that Jared Gordon is going to come in there and slime you the fuck out. I think Gordon knocks him out in the first two rounds just to keep this streak going because I feel like the world needs to give Jared Gordon a little bit because they've taken a lot from this dude. He was robbed versus Paddy Pimblett. Legitimately, no world where Paddy won two rounds. Still upsets me to this day. I remember being in shock when that decision was read. Either way, shout out Jared Gordon. Next up, I'm excited to talk about this. Kelvin Gastelum and Dustin Stoltzfus. The funniest fucking matchup of all time. Kelvin Gastelum is 5'9". To put that into comparison, I'm pretty sure Gene Silva and Diego Lopes are 5'9", and they're at 145. Kelvin Gastelum is just fat. He's a fat man that is fighting at 185 for no reason. He refuses to diet. He refuses to go into a calorie deficit. I mean, it just doesn't. This guy's scared of keto. He's scared of fucking low carb. He's scared of it all, man. I also don't know if that's actually his record, but I gotta check at that. But either way, man, Kelvin Gastelum coming off the loss against Joe Pyfer in June. It is crazy he's actually turning around this fast. I feel like he never turns around this fast, but who knows? Dustin Stoltzfus is coming off the loss versus Nursultan Ruzaboev in May. Very close fight and a lot closer than I think a lot of people expected coming in. I think Ruzaboev was a big favorite. Guys, because it is the Money Manziel criteria, we have to pick the funniest outcome. The funniest outcome of this fight is Dustin Stoltzfus beating former title challenger Kelvin Gastelum. Kelvin Gastelum is still only 33. It would be the funniest thing ever. There is a Sean Strickland quote. And there's a video of Sean Strickland talking about Dustin Stoltzfus, his teammate. I'm sure it's going to be really positive. Sean, tell us what you were saying about him.
Dustin's a fucking can. He's a fucking defector, bro. He's an American living in Germany. You can't respect that fucking guy.
But yeah, man, it's I don't know, dude. If Gastelum loses to that guy, it's gonna be real tough. Like it's gonna be a tough pill to swallow. I don't know why he's not at 170. I think it's way better for him. I think the issue is he's trying to cut like he does to 85 from 70. He needs to take time off and lose the weight. Like I don't want to see him fight at 70 until he's 34. And then it's like we can make one legit run at 170. Like I don't know why he's trying to do this thing bouncing back and forth at 85 just because it's easier for him to get fights in. Brother, if he's just not serious about his career anymore, he's not even that durable. Pfeiffer probably could have finished him, but Pfeiffer was just not stepping on the gas. It was just sad, man. Like, I don't know. This is an unedited photo of Kelvin Gastelum, by the way. This is a real picture. No one has edited this. Kelvin Gastelum actually does have that physique IRL. It is what it is, you know. But Stoltzfus winning would be really funny. I think he might be able to submit him. That's on the low. That's like a sneaky hardcore prediction by me that I think Stoltzfus might take down Gastelum and submit him. But time will tell. Alexander Hernandez and Diego Ferreira. Guys, I have to be candid here. I have to be transparent with the channel. I really like Alexander Hernandez. I've always been a fan of Hernandez. I remember watching that YouTube video where it's like Donald Cerrone humbles a young trash talker, and it's like him beating the shit out of Alexander Hernandez for 2 rounds. But I fuck with Alex, dude. Like I root for him every time he fights. I don't know why. It's just kind of I don't know. I feel bad for the dudes that like are promising to start. Like this guy Kolda Benil Dariush in his debut in under a minute. You know how crazy that is? To hold a top 15 guy in your debut in under a minute? You'd think he'd be like the next big thing. I think he even beat OAM. He beat Aubin Mercier. He didn't beat Ronaldo in their fight, but it is what it is. He did rob 2 guys right before the Hubbard win, or not Hubbard, Hooper. But it was a great shot that put Hooper down. I think he would have finished Hooper. The way Hooper was striking was fascinating to me. He would throw like a jab and a high kick and then do a fake spinning back fist. It was really interesting. I will say that I'm gonna pick Diego Ferreira here. Uh, I don't think the universe wants Hernandez to be a legitimate contender, even if he has the skill set. I just think that Diego Ferreira is like a brick wall, dude. Like you got to be so good in one part of your game to beat Ferreira. Like no one is more crafty than Diego Ferreira. You know, you have to out crafty the crafty vet, and Hernandez is not a crafty vet. Let me tell you right now, this kid isn't hip. He will not have learned from the Cerrone fight when he got the shit beat out of him. I am unbelievably familiar with Diego Ferreira's game, um, and it kind of is what it is, man. You know, like we're at a point where you've got a guy like Hernandez who is streaking, but Diego Ferreira is here to shut it down. I bet you he does shut it down, probably by like a 29-28 decision where Hernandez gasses in the final 2 rounds. We all knew that was going to happen, and we all know it is going to happen. So have faith. Final fight on the main card. I'm not going to spend too much time on this, bro. Like, I have no fucking clue about Santiago Luna. I did watch Quan Lee's last fight versus Gaston Bolaños. He looked pretty legit, dude. I maybe bet on Gaston Bolaños because I thought he was going to knock him out, but Quan Lee is pretty legit, man. Like, he's got great grappling. The striking is much better than advertised. I remember a lot of people were telling me that he was not good on the feet, and I don't think that's true, dude. He's got solid striking, solid kicks, but he does like to grapple heavy. I do wonder if that's going to work here, but I'll be real, like, because I don't know anything about Santiago Luna, I have to pick Quang Lee. I will say, bro, like it's not fair to me as someone talking about fights if your name is Quang Lee and I have to not sound racist because that is the most Asian name that I've ever heard in my life. And I shout out to my Asian brothers and sisters. I love all y'all, but we got to think of a better name, bro. Like this shit is terrible. Like it's literally like the guy in fucking Family Guy that you stay at my store. Like that's what I'm. If you told me his name was Quang Lee, I wouldn't be that surprised. Or like the fucking guy in the Peter Griffin sketch right there. Like that's a Quang Lee looking individual. I can't lie. So shout out to him, bro. But yeah, that'll do it, boys. Listen, obviously a Tuesday on the channel. We are very excited to keep the ball rolling here. Yeah, man. It was, it's gonna be an interesting card. I'm really only excited for the I mean, you know what, man? The Hernandez fighting up, those are interesting, but the prelims I'm not moved by. We are all going to be watching Tatiana Suarez and Amanda Lemos. And Claudio Puelles is somehow still in the UFC. There's just some fights that I don't care about. So if you are rooting for Cedric Dumas on Saturday, let me know down below. And yeah, you guys know the deal, man. TikTok's at Money Manziel MMA. I post a short every day, TikTok every day. Subscribe, like, comment, do all that good stuff. And I will see you in the next one. Peace out.